we're good. Okay. Meeting is called to order. Please rise to salute the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members, please.
Councilmember Southwick here, Councilmember Maury,
Here.
Councilmember Moore,
Here.
Councilmember Hunter,
Here.
Supervisor Trombley.
Here. Thank you. You have your minutes from the meeting on January 14th, last month's business meeting. Welcome a motion to approve them as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 14, 2025 town board meeting minutes as presented.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion in regards to the minutes? Any revisions required? Any alterations? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And now we have presentations of petitions, communications, and general question period for members of the community. I think that would be you if you could introduce yourself.
I'm Brandy Williams. I'm a Clayton Community College student who is doing an honors project for my state and local government class. I'm here to observe the meeting and then I write a report about it and I present it to Tom Mandeville, who is my instructor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And you said you're from the village? You live in
I
the
am.
village?
I live in the
Champlain?
village. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next is Cody, if you could introduce yourself, you're up next.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Cody Douglas. I'm a public health educator at the Clayton County Health Department. I work in our health planning and promotion division. I'm here to present one of the grant opportunities that we currently hold at the health department. And then today I was actually tossed some additional materials that I was asked to see if you wouldn't mind sharing with your residents. We're currently fielding our community health assessment. We're trying to get upwards of 2,000 responses from our community. And with this, we field it back to a lot of our decision makers in the area to kind of forecast where we want to prioritize health interventions for the next 3 years. So I have some information on that I can pass around.
Okay.
There's a couple different posters there, and then we created little index cards that can kind of be given out to any residents that are interested in taking it.
Okay. Let's see. What Cody is here for, you have any correspondence, by the way, is Eat Smart, Waste Less?
Yep. I also have some printouts, if you don't mind passing those around.
Okay.
So this packet that's coming around, it has our one-pager that gives a brief overview of our grant opportunity, and then we also have a couple little handouts that have the acceptable materials for a couple of food scrap haulers in our area.
Okay, that's gonna be a handout. Just take one and leave it on.
Yeah, they wanted to spice it up and get
Just kind of,
different pictures. Yeah.
so depending on where you post them. it's just-
Between these, same thing? just
Yeah,
different-
same
different
information, we
views.
just had different pictures to catch the attention of different groups in our community.
So you'd like me to pass these out throughout the community, like post them in,
If you had anywhere that you regularly post
Usually
any
post
flyers
it
or
here on the
anything like
board
that.
and put it out for handouts, but I could put a couple out.
But my
Let's see.
sorry, my priority reason for being here is to discuss our Eat Smart Waste Less grant that we have. It is the Municipal Food Scrap Recycling Initiative funded by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. It's a grant that we are awarded to work with different businesses in Clinton County. We can also work with residents to reduce food waste, and specifically with this grant, we wrote in that we wanted to work with municipalities to create a more community-wide food scrap reduction program. So that's why I'm here tonight. But I want to start by going over the problem of food waste in the country and in our county specifically, just to give you a little more background information. So the United States wastes the most amount of food compared to any other country in the world. That's about 92 billion pounds of food wasted every year, and that's almost 40% of all food that we have in the country. Every single year just gets ended up in the trash. Right here in Clinton County, we were able to get some information from Casella that manages our landfill, and nearly 20 million pounds of food scraps ended up in the trash in 2021. So it's occurring in our own county, so there's room for improvement there for sure. And to put that into perspective as to how much money we're wasting when we are throwing out that food, that average family of four wastes about $1,600 a year in wasted food. So it's a lot of money that our community could definitely benefit from. I think we could all agree that any amount of money back in your pocket is good right now. In Clinton County, almost 1 in 5 people have stated that they struggle to regularly access healthy food, and about 1 in 3 have stated that they have been concerned that they may run out of food before they can afford to purchase more, or that they have run out before they were able to purchase more food. So we have an issue with food insecurity in the community, and reducing food waste can improve that as well. So, but it's not just about hunger and fixing that in our community, it's also about the environment. So when food is put into the landfill, when it breaks down, it creates methane gas, which is a known greenhouse gas that is contributed to climate change. So has impacts on our environment, has impacts on our food security in the community, but there's room for improvement, and there's hope for the community. So about 40% of all food waste that occurs in the US occurs in our own homes. So there's room for our residents to reduce the amount of food that they're actually wasting. And in a local survey, it was revealed that about 92 participants that responded to the survey believed that they could be doing more at home to reduce food waste, and that they were interested in reducing it. So we have the interest in our community, now we have the funding as well to help our community have those resources to make that change. So I'm here tonight to kind of propose some ways that the town of Champlain may be able to help their residents kind of reduce the amount of food that they are wasting at home. So by reducing food waste and diverting it from the landfills, we can combat climate change, we can improve soil quality, and extend the life of our landfills while also combating food insecurity. So if you were able to partner with the Clinton County Health Department, we're trying to expand our educational messaging. So we're trying to make people more aware of the local food banks that are available to them with the JCEO outreach centers. So we're doing some promotional messaging about those and the opportunities that are available there, the times that they're open, and when they're accepting food donations, what to donate so that people are accessing healthy foods on a more regular basis. We're also trying to share tips and resources through our social media to educate people on the issue of food waste and how they can reduce their impact at home. We have some different posters and educational sessions that we're working on creating as well. We're hosting a couple different campaigns on social media as well to engage the community. We have a bunch of giveaways that I have sitting in my office right now that we're looking to give out to the community members to get them to get engaged with the idea of food waste reduction. So with the town, we were envisioning a few different things that could be happening at a more community-wide level. So we were envisioning that there would be a centralized food scrap collection bin available to any community member that's interested in reducing the food waste at home that's ending up in the trash. Instead, it could be put into this bucket that can then be hauled off by a food scrap hauler. So in our county, we have a couple of haulers which are on those little cards, their acceptable list.
Mm-hmm.
So we have on that blue card, we have River Valley Regeneratives, and they're a small company based out of Redford. They've been doing this work for about 3.5 years. It's run by this woman, Jennifer Perry, and her partner, John Norman. They have been working with a bunch of businesses in the community, and they are really passionate about this work. So they are hauling as far down as Keene Valley, as she informed me of, and they're just trying to expand the different communities that they're in contact with, and they're interested in this municipal level kind of collection. And then Casella also recently started collecting food scraps, which is that other sheet that was passed. So they just started this past fall, and they're interested in municipal level food scrap collection. And I was able to get some numbers, some pricing on some more logistical information from each of those as well, which I can get into. But with that, we do have money that is available to set up your town with a supply of buckets that could be distributed to community members. So if they're interested in collecting food scraps at home, they don't have to go to Lowe's and pick up a 5-gallon bucket. Instead, they can come pick one up here. They don't have to go into town or anything like that. We can also supply you with really anything that could benefit the community in reducing food waste at home. We also have funding available to pay for the hauling costs for the up to a full year. So with River Valley and Casella, they do charge to pick up those food scraps, but we do have that funding to offset that.
Right, so these are the containers that you would supply, right?
Yep, so on the top, we have some 2 1/4 gallon, they're more like kitchen countertop ones. I use that for my coffee grounds every morning. And then for my actual food scraps, I have one of the 5-gallon buckets that I have out on my porch. It has a really tight sealing lid, it screws on. I haven't had any issues with rodents accessing it, which is good. So it's pretty odor resistant, and yeah, so we can provide those to you to then distribute out to any resident that's interested. We were also envisioning that this could go in more community level events. So if you have any like field days or trunk or treats or anything where you'll have a large population of your community, we were thinking that a bin could be there, or some buckets could be provided to you to distribute to community members of that as well. We're just trying to increase the amount of kind of touch points where people might be hearing the message, that way they are aware of the issue and what they can do and resources to make those changes. We were also envisioning that you could place collection bins in any municipal office, that way you can reduce food waste at work, but also you can take those practices and then take it back home and collect your food scraps at home as well. We also are trying to provide education to people in the workplace and in the community in general. So we have a short series on YouTube with different ways to reduce food waste, whether it's in the workplace, at home, if you're out for dinner, different ways that you can commit to reducing the amount of food waste that you're generating. And then finally, we are interested in helping you adopt a municipal level food waste reduction policy to show your dedication to reducing food waste in your community, just to create a more sustainable future for the town of Champlain. But if you're interested, I do have some information regarding the hauling fees, the frequency of pickup and everything. So with River Valley Regeneratives, they, like I said, they're based out of Redford. They offer a 32 or a 50-gallon toter.
I don't think they have anything to do with here. They wouldn't be picking up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just too far.
I don't know, I think they do.
Yeah, I did discuss with her, and I asked if there was like an area that she wouldn't go to if it was too far. She said that they haven't really reached that yet. If they continue to grow and they're not able to take on additional staff, it might get to the point.
I mean, I go all over the place and I've never, ever seen, it's just not cost effective to come from Osable Valley up here to pick up.
Right, they offer a more a pickup schedule that works where they pick up as needed. It's not on a routine basis, so they wouldn't be coming out to pick up a bin that only has a little bit of food scraps. They would kind of wait for it to be full, and then they do a fresh bin swap every time.
There's probably a dozen different small haulers around it. Tag trucking is
No,
one.
they don't do this though.
They don't do this.
No, that's what I'm wondering is if he's approached them to see if they would.
No, right now, the only two that do it
That's
is Casella.
because there's
Yes, cause this is going
quite a
to,
few,
this is going to landfill, those are specific,
yeah.
compost piles. is what it does. So it's
Right.
different from your trash haulers.
But Casella's a trash hauler.
Right, but they started
Yeah.
a specific truck for this.
Casella's been doing it in Vermont for several years now.
Yep, they did just open, they have a compost pile that they've started. They haven't generated any compost because it does take time for that food to break down. But they aren't quite sure what they plan to do with their finished compost. They've discussed selling it back to the community or to local farmers, but they haven't settled on a concrete plan quite yet for that. River Valley, they do sell back to local farmers. They have certified organic compost. They don't take any like compostable products. That way they can certify that it's just food scraps that's being entered in.
But they did give you a cost to come
Now,
up
what were
here.
those?
Yes.
You started to give us that
Yep.
information.
So they have a 32 and a 50 gallon toter. They offer a 2-week trial period to kind of see how frequently it's being used and what size toter is more necessary for that area. So they charge $15 per bin per pickup if it's just one bin. If they have 2 or more bins, it's $12 per bin per pickup. So they've been hauling from the town of Chesterfield near Keysville since September, and they've collected over 2,400 pounds of food scraps just from there, and they charge $50 every month. So they pick up twice a month. They have 2 toters there, and I was sorry. When they come to pick up, they do a fresh bin swap. So you never have to worry about any like juices or anything nasty
Clean-
sitting at the
it's
bottom.
clean tote.
Yeah, it's a clean tote every time. With Casella, they have a 48 gallon toter. They do a weekly pickup for frequency. It's not on the as needed basis with River. They charge about $70 per toter. Without taxes and fees, so taxes and fees would get included on top of that $70. With them, they have a compostable bag that's put into the toter. The food scraps go into the bag, and then they take the bag out, replace it with a fresh one. So it's the same toter that stays every time. I have been in contact with an out-of-state entity. They also do a lot, some food scrap hauling in our area, but they primarily focus on our large generators like our grocery stores. So I'm waiting to get some pricing from them as to what it might look like if they were able to service this area. They did say they can service Champlain. I'm assuming they probably are picking up from Price Chopper here, so, but I'm not quite sure what that would look like price-wise quite yet. The guy I've been in contact with, he is working to get me some numbers as to how many bins, or what the price would be per bin, depending on the area. So, once I get that, I can pass that information along as well. But that's all I have for you. We are interested in conducting resident interest surveys to kind of gauge a community's interests. We're trying to see if there's any barriers that they might think of at home that would stop them from being able to reduce their food waste and separate their food scraps. We're trying to see where they might think the collection bin would be most beneficial to them, where it's easily accessible. And then we're really open to any other questions that you think might be important to know to best serve your community as well.
So are you recommending that you do that survey first before we determine if we're gonna roll this out, or?
So I spoke with my supervisor, and she felt that it was more appropriate to have the board on board with the food scrap reduction program, and then we would reach out to the community, kind of see where they would feel that those bins would be most beneficial to them, get a sense of how many buckets and bins might be needed for you to be able to distribute. We would make it well known that that option is available to them. That way they're not going out and purchasing their own or anything like that.
Okay.
Can I get your name and number if I have some?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Cody Douglas.
Okay.
And then the number to our health planning and promotion division is on the bottom of that one pager. It's 565-4993.
And that will get you or someone who's familiar with
Yep.
the program?
Yep.
Okay.
And you've got enough funding, where if we did this, it's gonna cover the first year.
Yes, and I'll let you know, we do have $40,000 that we allotted specifically for hauling costs for any municipalities that are interested. We weren't sure what it was going to cost, so that's what we budgeted for. So,
Sounds like plenty.
yes, which is great to hear.
Yeah. Sounds like plenty.
Do they have something like at Casella, say in Champlain, if you brought it to the landfill, or convenience station, would they have buckets there or something?
So I did.
I go to do my garbage, drop the garbage off there, and now I've got some compost, can I just dump it there?
Right. I did ask them the feasibility of having a collection bin at their transfer station. And with New York State, they do have specific laws surrounding the food scraps at convenience stations. So they would have to also be picked up once per week. And with the shortened hours that they already are having with their convenience stations, they weren't sure if that was really a feasible option as of right now.
Yeah, because they're only open once a week here now.
Yeah, but I mean, there are still people that go there, so, you know, it'd be great, you bring everything, you know, your recyclables, your garbage.
I guess it would be a good second option if they allowed it,
Right.
you know. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking here's the only other option, you know, where else to have that central location. If they allowed it, it'd be a good option for folks that go there
Yeah.
once a week anyways.
Right.
But it'd be another $15. Well, actually, then you're using the more expensive
Correct.
hauler.
Right.
Now you've taken River Valley out of the equation.
Yeah, but you may anyway, I mean, they may find out, it's a long drive, I mean, they know that, and we're not talking a Prius with 70 miles to the gallon, we're talking a garbage truck at 4. You know, it's expensive, you know, all of a sudden, and then plus 2 guys, it's, you
I
know.
don't know what they're using, Ryan, it could be a pickup truck, I
And
don't
if
know.
they have municipalities between where they start and where they finish, they may be picking up more than just one municipality.
I do know that they do have a truck that they use for hauling. I also found out that they are very sustainable with it, so they pick up used fryer oil from some of the businesses that they work with, and they use that to then supplement the fuel for their truck.
When they run out, they can take the garbage scraps and
Yeah, it's like Back to the Future, you know.
Are you allowed to tell us if there are other municipalities that are participating in the program?
So we actually have 4 board meetings this week that we've been to. So I went to the village last night and they were on board.
The village
Of Champlain, sorry. So they were, Janet and the board was very interested in it. So we're moving forward with next steps with them. We met with the town of Altona last night as well. And then we also had a meeting with the town of Morris tonight for this one. I haven't heard any update from my supervisor. She went to those two.
Is Altona on board?
Altona, I guess there was some scheduling difficulties last night, so their meeting got pushed back and then it was shortened, so my supervisor gave them a shorter spiel. So she was sending a follow-up today to thank them for having her and kind of give some more information. And, so hopefully we hear back soon from them.
Did they talk to Altona Correctional? Because they, at one time, and I assume they still are, they were separating the solid waste, food waste,
Yep.
and composting it. They have a huge compost pile. They're
Yeah.
good.
So I know we have had this grant for a couple of years now, in the past, sorry. And on our previous iteration of this grant, we were reaching out to our correctional facilities and they were having their food scraps separated and they were hauling them off to a location in Franklin County is what we were told. So I'm not sure if Altona was doing theirs right on site, but I do know that Clinton Correctional, they were having their food scraps hauled off to Franklin County.
Okay. So what do you guys think? I mean, I'm on board with it, I think it should be tried. It's just another avenue of keeping stuff out from landfill.
So you're saying having central drop off here somewhere?
Yeah. Yeah, you would need one. Did you get a chance to speak to the restaurants in town?
I haven't had a chance to. I did reach out to, I forgot her name. She was at Hudson Headwaters. I went there for a presentation, and she was super interested in food scrap reduction, and because I told her that I had a meeting with Janet set up. And she had said like it would be awesome if we could get something here. So I'm not sure if maybe Hudson Headwaters could be a location to have a bin hosted, that the municipality could then kind of be in charge of.
Yeah, we would have to pay for the hauling of that,
Right.
that bin.
Yeah.
The restaurants, when you and I had talked earlier, would be responsible for their own if they participated, or?
Yep,
cost of
so
hauling?
the way that we work right now with the municipality, or with businesses, is we purchase anything to help them reduce the amount of food waste at their business, but then for sustainability wise, we just have them out of the gate, pick up the hauling costs. So we have entertained the idea in the city, because the restaurants are so closely located. They've discussed doing like a shared payment for those bins. Still working to get that established with other restaurants on board, but the restaurants would, yeah, be.
Okay, so that's interesting. So Hudson Headwaters could be a second location if we did too. And that'd be a little easier for some folks maybe.
I did reach out, she was on vacation when I reached back out, but.
Okay.
And in case anyone's concerned with any contamination from people dumping their trash into these bins, with River Valley Regeneratives, they can retrofit their cans so that they have a padlock on them. So in terms of the combination, I had a conversation with Jen, and she said that she's discussed with Chesterfield that they might want to charge like a subscription fee for those padlocks, so that if somebody were using it, every 4 or 6 months or so, they pay $5 or $10, they get access to that new combination. That way you're making a little bit of money that can then go to those hauling costs after our 12 months is up. But you could also, the bins that we provide to you, you could then sell those to your residents for a cheaper cost, and they could get them at the store, and then that's just a little bit of revenue to pay for those hauling costs as well.
Yeah, let's think about that. I mean, essentially, figure out what account we use for this. It's tax dollars, so. They've already paid for it.
So what are you looking for from us tonight? Anything, or just,
I think
we
a
have
vote,
interest?
I think a vote to enter into the program. We could, we can do a formal vote and do business when we get there, but.
Well, I'm just curious, do business sell some of the compost buckets up here, or just have this as a central drop-off location? And how would they get billed? Would the town cover all their costs from bringing the waste up here?
Yep, so the town would be expected to pay for that hauling cost for the residents.
After the first year.
Yeah, after the first year. The way that our vouchering process works though, I didn't just wanna be transparent, so it's like you guys would pay for it, and then later that month we would be able to send you a check.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it can't be that we just cover it up front.
And it would be Casella picking it up here?
It could,
It's our choice.
yep, it's your choice.
I mean, based on the cost,
Try to go with
I would go River
Yeah.
Valley.
And I can give you the contact info for both. It's Christy at Casella, and then I can give you Jennifer Perry's as well.
Okay, so there's nothing on here then, huh?
No.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, where would we put it? Even with the wind is a big problem. I mean, I've got my big garbage containers, and I've got to put bricks on them, which means they can't mechanically pick them up, and they holler at you. And vandalism. So, I mean, is it something you would have like inside the door, only 9 to 5?
No.
Well, I'm trying to find the
I would
right
say
spot.
no.
Yeah, I know the bins with River, they do line them with either like sawdust or hay at the bottom to soak up some of those odors.
Okay.
But I don't think that they would recommend keeping them inside, just
No.
because any odors that aren't.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, but I just, we'd have to secure them somehow out there, just because of the wind. I mean,
Yeah, probably to the pole in the corner of the parking lot, if you want me to take a guess right now, but I think we'd have to walk around here and figure out the best location. Maybe over on the side.
The corner by your office, where the, where,
Well, it's an alcove, I
Yes.
agree. It's an alcove, so
Sorry.
it's protected from the wind to a large
Yes,
degree.
over.
where, and there's cameras, and, you know what I'm saying, as you go to the court, you know, kind of thing is where I was thinking.
Yeah, we could try that. Right in the corner of the building. Not,
How many 50 gallons are you considering?
I think it's only gonna take one. It's
I
gonna
would
be one.
agree, I don't think you need more than one.
No, it's just gonna be
So-
one container.
And it's not like it's a set contract where you only have the one, like
Right.
if need be, you could up it to two. And with River, they do offer that 2-week trial period to kind of see how much it's being used. Casella unfortunately doesn't have a trial period similar to that, but.
Yeah, but basically it's the same thing as a two-wheel garbage container.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if this works well, Brian, and we don't like it there in the corner, you know, for $300 you buy a garbage hut and the wind can't touch it.
The garbage hut?
Yeah, I've got one at home. Yeah, they're nice. They're made by Sun something. Sungrass, I think it is.
You like what they have for Perry's Mills Rec Park?
You just, the roof opens, the two doors
Yeah.
open, you wheel it out.
Same
put it
Yes.
in.
exact thing, yeah. And you can put a lock on the doors that open in the front, so the only way, which is good, I mean, if somebody's trying to get a 55-gallon container out to lift it up, you know, and
Right.
it's a
Do
lot
you
harder.
think we need to lock it?
I don't think we do.
No, this would just be the front doors. There's two front doors you can open, that makes it easy for the hauler to just
Yeah.
roll it out.
You just put a
But-
latch on.
But I
Huh?
don't think you need to put a lock. Mine doesn't have a lock.
No, on the front, you put a lock so somebody can't vandalize it or anything. Then there's two nice doors that go up, and Casella can just, or River Valley
They just wheel them out. Mine just
can
wheel out.
can reel them out, yes, but we don't have to worry about those 50-gallon containers are very expensive and worth a lot to a lot of people, and
Not when they
this
got-
way
not
they're
when they got
locked
food
up.
waste in it.
I
Yeah, we're
think
gonna have
they
to go.
would,
We have to move it up, but-
first place they'd stop is outside the town hall, dump it. But this is good, this has worked at Perry's Mills, we've never had that I'm aware of, we've never had a problem, because they've gotta throw the bottles in, it's a returnable bottle things, they're throwing them in from the top. For them to get them back out, they've gotta get up over the top of it to pull them out. And
I don't think we're gonna have to worry about people stealing these, seriously.
it's the drums, it's kinda like the problem we had when we had, we had a shed for recyclables, we thought it would be good for like TVs and stoves and things that, people could drop off that were big to recycle. And it turned out people were throwing garbage in it. So now the town is
So-
sorting through it,
So
paying
just for,
to send the garbage out. And,
yeah, he's
you know.
trying to join now. We can do a formal vote when we get to new
Well,
business, but for Cody's sake, I say aye.
I say aye,
Yeah,
because of the
I do.
grant for the 1 year, so
Yes.
let's try it.
I mean, it's a good idea.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll email you tomorrow morning with some next steps. We're working on drafting up that sample policy that I'll be able to send along to you and get some feedback on some questions that you might wanna hear from your residents.
Thank you.
Okay,
Great, thank you so much, I
Thanks,
appreciate it.
Travels.
Thanks, Cody, appreciate you coming.
Thank you. Thanks, Susan.
Alex, can you hear me? Hi,
I
Alex.
can. Hey, how you doing, Sam?
Good, you?
I'm doing well. I think you can hear me, see me okay?
Yep, hold on one moment.
Yep.
Okay, is that better?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a long view, but you can see us at least out. Can you hear us okay?
I can.
Okay,
How you
great.
doing, Tom?
Very good.
I
So,
can stay up here.
I'm doing well. Thank
I,
you so much for letting me come and at least virtually, speak to you all tonight. All right.
So have you met the board members, Alex?
You know, I don't believe I have. So happy to introduce myself. My name is Alex. I'm a brand manager with AES Northeast. Some of you are likely familiar with AES for our architecture and engineering work. We specialize in water and wastewater projects really throughout the North Country. We also have a building systems department, architecture department, civil engineering department, and surveying department. In my role at AES, I really assist communities in grant applications as well as grant administration, and also provide some consultation on community and economic development initiatives. And have had the privilege of working with Tom here over the last few months to really help kind of advise and plan around potential grant opportunities, as well as some big picture community and economic development focused work, really revolving around the Miramar outlet mall. So I've really been fascinated by that site and everything that has gone into the history of that, leaving it where it is today, and what could be done with it moving forward. So that's a little bit about me. And Tom, if you want to tee up the presentation, I'll turn back to you. Otherwise, I'm happy to jump in here.
Yeah, just real quick, we'll go around the room so you know who you're facing here.
Yep, Dorothea Southwick, nice to meet you.
Jason Borey, nice to meet you as well.
Thank you.
Julie?
Julie Katstein.
Yeah, she's our town clerk.
Rick Hunter. Hi, Alex.
Hi,
Well, all right. Well, nice to meet you all.
I'm Brian Moore, town councilman.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so,
Okay.
I didn't, I don't think I received an email in time to really give the board any heads up on this, and so you're gonna have to give a quick summary.
Yeah,
on
my
what we're doing.
apologies. All right, so so just to give folks some context for one here tonight, what I'll be presenting on. As I mentioned before, yeah, I've been working with Tom on really some long-term visioning around Miramar, but that has really kind of led to a larger discussion around housing development and affordable housing. And I should say as well, as folks are likely aware, AES is working with the town and village on a joint comprehensive plan. So that's just another great segue into some of the recent conversations that Tom and I have been having, specifically around opportunities for developing affordable housing around Champlain. So recently, I spoke with Tom about low-income housing tax credits, or LIHTC. So I'm here tonight to just give you all a very quick, high-level overview of what exactly LIHTC is and how it's a tool that the municipality may be able to take advantage of and really help to facilitate some affordable housing in the future. So I'm going to give a quick PowerPoint presentation, and I will provide the disclaimer that this is a very complicated program. So again, I will keep it very high level tonight and just informative for you. However, after I give that presentation, I will kind of speak to how it may apply to the town of Champlain and some projects that may be coming down the pipeline in the short term as well as the long term. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and I will jump into the fascinating world of low-income housing tax credits.
Alex, if I could just ask you a question quickly, will you be
Yeah,
forwarding
of course.
this PowerPoint to Tom so he can disseminate it to each of us?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes. All right. And are you able to see the PowerPoint?
Yeah,
Or are you still
maximize
just
that
seeing me?
window. Brightness.
Sorry, Tom?
Up at the top, maximize, yep, no, up in the corner,
Oh,
keep going,
yep.
yep, maximize it, so it's there we go, perfect, thank you.
Okay. All right, so again, quick overview. I'm just going to start by talking about what is LIHTC, how is LIHTC administered, what does applying for LIHTC in New York State look like. I will provide some project examples of recent housing developments completed with LIHTC funding here in New York State. And at the end, I'll talk about, again, just some takeaways for you to consider, and then bring the conversation around, again, how this tool could be used in Champlain here in the near term. So first of all, what is LIHTC? So really, first thing I'll say is that LIHTC is the nation's largest and most significant tool for affordable rental production. So LIHTC is used to fund the development of affordable rental housing, so cannot be used for owner-occupied housing. And really the most important thing to distinguish right off the bat is that LIHTC is not a tax break, it's a tax credit. So this really works in a municipality's favor in a lot of ways. But again, if you are considering LIHTC for a housing project in your community, you are not conceding any tax revenues, whether present revenues or future revenues. That's not how LIHTC works. So again, I always like to make sure folks are clear right off the bat that this is not a tax break for development, but again, is an incentive that works as a credit. So what does that mean exactly? So in the case of LIHTC, those tax credits are issued by the IRS to state housing finance agencies. So depending on a state's population, the IRS will issue a certain level of tax credits. Typically, for a place like New York, that's tens of millions of dollars in tax credits. So once the IRS has issued those tax credits to the state housing finance agency, that state housing finance agency then will issue the tax credits to private developers. Those developers will take those credits and then essentially sell them to investors in exchange for equity or capital that they can use to fund their project. And I'll get into the details of that a little bit here in a moment. So again, what's important to realize here is that the developer is essentially getting cash from investors for their project. So what exactly does that look like in practice? So I'll direct your attention to this graphic here on the right to start. So let's say you have a $10 million development. They will subtract soft costs from that overall development cost. So your eligible costs, maybe $8 million. So there's two types of LIHTC programs. You have 9% and 4%. 9% is the most common, which is the one I'll speak to here more in a moment. But if you look at this column here in the middle, the developer column, what this means is that if you have $8 million in eligible costs, you multiply that by 9%, so that equals $720,000 in annual credits that are issued over 10 years. So that really equates to $7.2 million in total credits, minus a syndication fee. That's the fee that the developer would pay to sell those credits to investors. But ultimately what this does, this tax credit, is result in this case, just over $6 million in equity that goes to that developer to fund construction of their project. And that is a dollar-to-dollar tax credit. So again, in this case, that investor who's providing that $6 million in equity in capital for that project will get annual tax credits of anywhere from, in this case, $720,000 to $1 million. So again, to just kind of recap that, the benefit to the developer is that they are getting equity up front. This is not debt. This is not money that they'll have to repay. So it really limits the amount of risk that the developer takes on for a project of this nature. So some other things to consider in how LIHTC is administered. So in each state, you have a qualified allocation plan. And in the qualified allocation plan, that's where a state really lays out the criteria for what type of LIHTC projects they want to fund. And what their criteria would be for scoring projects that are going to be issued those tax credits. So another thing to note here, and I'll talk more about this in a minute, is that you as a municipality are not the ones applying for LIHTC. It will be the developer. With that said, a municipality still plays a very important role in the LIHTC process as a partner to that developer. So as I mentioned, you have the 9% LIHTC credit and the 4% LIHTC credit. The 9% LIHTC credit will fund up to 70% of project costs. So again, this is a very substantial, really incentive or subsidy in terms of overall development costs. So there are some income tests for LIHTC projects, which I'll run through here in a minute. And LIHTC projects must remain affordable for really the minimum is 15 years. That's the federal requirement. Most states require that LIHTC projects remain affordable for a period of 30 years. And part of LIHTC compliance is that the owners of LIHTC properties must certify that they're meeting the income eligibility requirements on an annual basis. Okay. So as I mentioned before, you have 4% LIHTC credits and 9% LIHTC credits. So 4% is actually a non-competitive program. It will fund up to 30% of a project's cost. However, what's really the distinguishing factor with the 4% LIHTC is that it is the only eligible projects are projects that are really financed through private activity bonds or receive federally issued private activity bonds. So 9% is really the more common tax credit that's pursued, much more competitive. Typically, about half of applicants to the 9% LIHTC program are successful. Most folks end up applying twice and typically will get it the second time around. But again, if you're successful in applying for 9% LIHTC credits, that will cover 70% of the project's cost. And what I'll really show here in a minute with the project examples is that the beautiful thing about LIHTC is it takes those projects where you have development costs that are way up here and a pool of tenants whose incomes are way down here, where there's that major gap between construction costs and what folks can afford to pay, and it closes that gap. So LIHTC projects are those projects that really in regular market conditions would just never happen. They would never possibly pencil. So this is really kind of that magic bullet, if you will, to help take those sort of pie in the sky projects and make them feasible. So the income tests that are used for LIHTC, there's really 3 different income tests that can be used. The first one is 20% of a project's units are occupied by tenants with an income of 50% or less of area median income. The second, if you don't meet that requirement, is at least 40% of the units have to be occupied with folks making 60% or less of area median income. And the third approach that you can take is income averaging. So under that scenario, 40% of units in a project have to be occupied by tenants with income averaging no more than 60% of AMI. So there's really a few different ways that a project could meet the LIHTC income requirements. However, in practice, what you typically see is developers of LIHTC projects actually exceeding those income requirements. Most developers will actually agree to lease 100% of their units to households meeting the LIHTC income limits. This just makes their applications not only more competitive, but also makes them eligible for a higher level of tax credits. And in some cases, owners will actually go lower in terms of the percent of people or what that AMI threshold is for qualifying units. Okay, so applying for LIHTC in New York State, again, it's ultimately developers who apply for LIHTC, not municipalities. So the process for applying for LIHTC, each year, specifically with 9%, the state will issue an RFP in June or July, with a deadline typically in the fall. So applicants, developers who want to apply for 9% LIHTC, the biggest thing is that they have to participate in a technical assistance session with the state. That has to occur within 12 months prior to them applying for LIHTC. And along with that technical assistance session, that developer will have to submit a packet of pre-development documents to the state. So again, this is where there's really some extensive planning that goes into it prior to the time that a developer would be applying. And in order to be eligible, they must meet at least one of the state's housing goals. Those are outlined in the qualified allocation plan. And then, again, those projects are scored on criteria laid out in that qualified allocation plan. And I apologize, I know I'm running through this kind of fast, but I will go back that into some deeper detail later. So I'm going to go through a few project examples real quick. This first one is the Full Spring Apartments in Tannersville, New York. This project was funded through the latest round of 9% LIHTC finance in New York. This project actually occurred on the site of an old hotel. You can see in the bottom right corner a picture of the structure that stood there previously. So this is a great example, again, if you were to apply this in the case of the Miramar factory outlet malls. One of the scoring criteria in the state's qualified allocation plan is projects that really replace blight in the community. So again, when you take a site like the Miramar site, that's a project that would score really well based on the fact that you're eliminating blight and replacing it with affordable housing, similar to what you see with this project. So this project received a LIHTC award package of $10.5 million. So in addition to the federal LIHTC, and again, those are tax credits on federal income, the state also has its own LIHTC program offering tax credits on state income to investors. So a lot of times in New York State, you'll see a package that combines federal tax credits with state tax credits, which was the case for this project. So this project generated 56 affordable units with a workforce in senior preference. The development also included, again, units for folks 55 and over, as well as a multi-purpose community center. The project also set aside 6 units for folks with disabilities, including folks with visual and hearing impairments. And at the bottom here, you can see, again, the total package that was awarded to this project. So another thing to keep in mind with LIHTC is you'll never see a project that's funded by LIHTC alone. LIHTC is usually one piece of a larger capital stack that's put together to support these projects. So again, you're seeing really a pretty robust stack of public subsidies to support these projects. But again, these are projects that between senior components and the components for folks who maybe have a disability or who are out of work, really provide housing for folks who otherwise would never be able to afford it. So next we have the South Street Apartments in Glens Falls, New York. This project was really unique in its mixed-use nature. As you can see in the image at the top there, this project consisted of a new ground-up construction, a new building that contained 70 units of mixed-income housing. Along with that new construction, it also includes 3 structures that were renovated for adaptive reuse to provide additional apartments as well as commercial space. And what I love about this project is, again, it's a mixed income project. So another thing that's important to consider with LIHTC is it provides subsidies for affordable housing while allowing a developer flexibility to also provide workforce and market rate housing as well. So you can really meet a lot of different needs through a LIHTC funded project. This project as well also included units for folks with disabilities, as well as career training and workforce support services on site. And then finally, we have a project that I'm sure many of you may have heard of or somewhat familiar with. This is the Harrison Place Apartments in Malone. So this was a $25 million project that, again, received a funding package. I believe that was at least $12 million just in state tax credits. So this project was 40 units of affordable housing. So tenants, I believe all tenants were earning 60% or less of AMI. Includes 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. 3 bedroom units I know are often very tough to come by, but what's great here is with a 3 bedroom unit, at that point you're helping not just individuals, but families as well who may have a need for that affordable housing. And again, a very unique component of Harrison Place is that they provide wraparound services on site through citizen advocates, who is a human services provider that actually serves as really the owner of the property, not necessarily the developer, but the champion of the property. They partnered with a development group, I believe out of Rochester, to get this done, but never would have happened without the leadership of citizen advocates. So yeah, just 3, again, really, I think, solid examples of successful LIHTC projects that have all occurred really very recently here in New York State. So finally, just some quick takeaways. Again, LIHTC, not a tax break, tax credit. Again, developers ultimately are the ones who apply for LIHTC, not municipalities. So you're probably asking, all right, well, if we're not applying for LIHTC, why does this matter to us? What's our role in this? So a few of the big things to consider in LIHTC is that these projects really have to comply with minimal construction and development costs, and that's where municipalities really come in. First of all, as a planning partner, but really helping with that site identification. And what really sparked my interest in speaking to you tonight was that Tom had recently mentioned a potential project for senior housing in Champlain at a site that is currently going to be served in the near term by new sewer that will be extended to serve this site. And that perfectly represents the role that a municipality can play. If you have a site that's ripe for development, served by utilities, that's the exact type of site the state likes to see for LIHTC projects. So really coming alongside developers and helping them pick a site that is served by infrastructure and that's shovel ready for development and really helps minimize some of those pre-development costs is an important role that municipalities can play. Where you're also in a unique position is as you're going through your comprehensive plan, you have the opportunity to really implement complementary zoning to ensure that this site, this potential future site of senior housing, as well as other sites around town, are zoned to provide for multifamily and affordable housing development. And again, what I recommend here is you will really play a lead role in engaging those developers and helping them plan around LIHTC. And a big part of that is helping them get that market data and helping them meet the need that you have in your community, helping them identify who are those future tenants, those potential tenants, and helping them really measure the demand in the community. Again, it may be among senior folks, folks with disability, it may be workforce folks. So the last thing I'll say here, again, within New York State, LIHTC projects, as you likely saw from some of those examples, typically focus on things like sustainable design, inclusivity, again, for folks of different ages, different physical abilities, different income levels. Accessibility is huge. So again, just a few things to consider there. So with that, and again, I know that was really quick, maybe a little jumbled, but I wanted to just really set the stage for you to ask questions and if there's anything we can dig a little deeper on, I'd really love to speak a little bit more to how LIHTC could apply again to a potential affordable senior housing development in your community or potentially to the Miramar site and really start that conversation around what you as a town can do now to ensure a successful LIHTC application later.
Okay, so I got a couple of questions. In regards to the Miramar site, we were originally looking at affordable housing and workforce housing, right? Would that apply?
Yes. Yes. So again, what's great here is you can work with the developer, helping them kind of come up with that pro forma, looking at the numbers of, okay, how can we provide, let's say, 20 units of workforce housing that may accommodate folks making 80% to 120% of area median income, while also providing, let's say, 30 or 40 units for folks who are only making 20 or 30% of area median income. And as you look at those numbers, again, you can start to mix incomes to where you have that average income of 40 units being below, let's say 60% AMI. So yeah, that's again, LIHTC is a great tool for being able to infuse really low income housing in what would otherwise be a market rate development.
And how would it apply to the senior housing project?
So with senior housing, again, you have the ability, working with the developer, to say, okay, we want to reserve, let's say you have a 50 unit development, you can work with that developer to say, hey, we're gonna apply for LIHTC and we want to ensure that 20% of those 50 units or 30% of those 50 units are reserved only for folks 65 and older. And again, based on New York's qualified allocation plan, having those set aside units for seniors will help you score higher on LIHTC application.
And the seniors wouldn't be required to fit into a income range, or would they?
So they would be, yes. And since a lot of those folks are on fixed incomes, they'll typically those are folks who are well positioned to qualify. You know, in most cases, I think, you know, those folks with their fixed incomes are gonna be making, you know, 60% or less of whatever that AMI is.
Guys, any questions?
Sounds what we're looking for, and especially if they can do Miramar, that would be great.
Yeah, if we get to that point, it sounds like, so basically our role is to make sure the developer is aware of this and help guide
Yeah.
him through it. Would he go to someone like you to fill out this application? Or is it
So,
something he goes
if it's
directly to a state site?
developer who's not done a LIHTC project before, there are LIHTC consultants who have expertise in completing the application. I would not be the person to complete the application. There are folks who are much more experienced with the actual application process. I have worked with developers who have done LIHTC projects, so I've seen the success of LIHTC. I've seen the complexities of it. So again, I can speak to the process, but again, if you have a developer, Tom, like you mentioned, the owner, the property owner who's considering the senior housing development, my recommendation would be as a board to meet with that developer, to engage with that developer and say, hey, we want to see this project be successful. We believe for it to be successful and for it to meet our community goals, LIHTC will have to be involved. In that case, again, what the municipality can do is say, for our role, we're going to ensure that there's adequate infrastructure serving the site, which will lower your development costs. We're going to ensure that there's zoning there, which will lower your development costs. And we're going to work with you to identify the needs of the community in terms of who those future residents are and how that development can meet those needs. And then, you know, of course, there's the letters of support and everything that would go into the application. But ultimately, that developer, my recommendation would be to hire, they would hire a consultant who can do the application for them.
Okay.
But again, the carrot here, or the incentive for them is that they could get up to 70% of their project costs covered without having to take on debt.
I know, it's a big win for
And
them.
again, for the municipality, you're not sacrificing any tax revenue. You're not giving them a break on property taxes, you're not giving them a break on sales taxes. And again, when it comes then to pitching an affordable housing project to the community at large, it kind of eliminates any of that opposition you may get from folks who say, oh, we can't afford to give up the tax revenue to support this project. So again, there's no local tax revenue involved in this. All of that subsidy is coming from that equity provided by investors. So again, if I'm an investor who's purchasing $5 million in tax credits to support this project, that's $5 million of my money that's going to that developer as capital in their project. And again, they don't have to pay me back. My benefit as an investor is that I get substantial tax write-offs for the next 10 years.
Interesting, huh?
So who sets the criteria for the developers, Alex?
So that's done by the state. So it's the Office of Homes and Community Renewal, who administers LIHTC here in New York State. So I have the qualified allocation plan. It's about 32 pages, which in New York State actually is a much more digestible document than other compliance documents I've seen. So really, you know, as long as they're compliant with the requirements of that qualified allocation plan, then yeah, they should be all right.
Sounds good.
So
I think it's
You'll have
sparked
to send,
interest.
He's gonna send you copies.
He's gonna send copies of this, but can you send us that 30-page,
the qualified allocation plan, yep.
please?
I'll send that to you as well as just with some bullet points
Great.
on some of the highlights from that.
Okay.
This particular funding is only for rentals. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct. It's rental only.
So I should mention though, again, LIHTC compliance is, the compliance period is 30 years. and this is actually kind of another benefit of the program. Some people, one of the criticisms you'll hear of LIHTC is that, okay, after 30 years, that housing isn't required to be affordable anymore, so it reverts to market rate. But the reality, in my mind, is that at the end of 30 years, you still have that housing, and then you have the flexibility of it being market rate housing. And the other thing that's great about that is, let's say in this case, it's built as, townhomes or, garden level apartments. After 30 years, those units could be converted into condos or made available for sale and could become owner occupied.
Okay, true. That does lock them in for a 30-year period. You do. Any other questions?
Seems good.
Yeah, I thought it was super interesting, that's why when Alex offered to present it to you guys, I thought it was a good idea, because it's,
And I do apologize, usually I like to do these in person. I am over in Vermont at the moment, so I had to do it, of course, remotely. And again, I know I threw a lot of information at you tonight. A lot of this is very complex, but I would really, really encourage you as a board to take some time to continue looking into the program. And as I mentioned, I'll send some of those follow-up materials, including the presentation itself, because you will find, when it comes time to really consider affordable housing in the community, I can't stress enough how indispensable LIHTC is. And given the market we live in today with construction costs as high as they are, and especially in rural communities where rents rarely ever can justify or, really, meet the cost of construction, you almost always have to have LIHTC involved. There's some public subsidy. So really, again, a critical tool to affordable housing development, especially in New York State.
sounds good.
All right.
I'll make it possible. Okay, thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
All right. Y'all have a good night.
You have
Thank
a
you.
great night, thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Okay. Report from the supervisor. Good evening. I would like to extend a thank you to our highway department. They have done an outstanding job taking care of our roads this winter, as always. This winter is a little more like a true North Country winter. It was snow literally every day, thankfully not a foot at a time. When you factor in the wind conditions, the roads need treatment constantly. Our highway crew, including our highway superintendent, have done an outstanding job ensuring that our roads are well treated so we can travel on them safely. Thank you for your professionalism. We recently attended the Chamber of Commerce annual dinner. Our table was the town of Champlain and its 2 villages. And at the table were board members from the town and both villages. There were also 4 guests that joined us, and we greatly enjoyed their company. This is a great rock and roll evening, and we thank the Chamber for hosting this fun event and for recognizing the great efforts of our North Country businesses. This year's awards were Chamber Chairperson of the Year, Stephen Caccio; Business of the Year, Monahan Medical; Business Person of the Year, Trent Trahan; Small Business of the Year Award, Cross Border Development and Hurdle Group; Trailblazer Award, Brianna House; and Economic Development Partner of the Year, CV Tech, Division of CVES. Congratulations to the winners of this year's Chamber Awards. I was again honored to attend the annual Champlain EMS banquet. I hold this event dear to my heart as I'm humbled to be in attendance with so many heroes. These men and women give enormous amounts of their personal time to serve in this community, and we are so fortunate to have such qualified professionals who dedicate their lives to saving lives every moment of every day. Thank you, all of those volunteers and paid EMS. AARP Foundation has tax aid free to individuals, seniors, and families. This is a volunteer service offered to low and moderate income taxpayers. They are IRS certified volunteers providing free tax preparation. You can make an appointment by calling the Clinton County Senior Center at 518-314-9762. You can also address questions to taxclintoncounty@gmail.com. So that's TAXCLINTONCOUNTY@gmail.com. Or again, they also list that same phone number, 314-9762, for questions as well. I believe for making an appointment, it said you would have to leave a message. Then our Next Tricks plastic program. Thank you to all who have been donating plastics to be recycled for this project. What a wonderful achievement by all of us for keeping these plastics out of the landfills. And thank you to Price Chopper and Market 32 for sponsoring this. Please continue to save and bring your plastics as we're continuing to collect for Northern Tier Senior Housing's 2025 project. We also have a collection box at Champlain Technology Group for those who wish to drop off plastic when they're stopping in to pay the phone bill. Thank you CTG for offering that location. Report on projects. Our comprehensive plan revision. We just had a meeting on January 8th, which was a review of the data collected from the survey and the last community meeting. This will be posted soon within the project folder. It's available through the link on the website. I know I checked the last couple of days, that wasn't in there yet. The next comprehensive planning committee meeting is tomorrow, February 12th. These committee meetings are closed meetings, however, there will be another open community meeting scheduled in April. The date is to be determined. The project timelines, meeting minutes, and public sessions and general information are available through the Smart Growth Comp Plan link on our website. Please visit our website periodically to keep informed. Miramar Properties. The 19 acres with the mall. We're currently in deliberations with the owner's attorney about forming a plan for redevelopment along with the removal of this hazardous and dilapidated building. This seems to be moving in a positive direction as they have now listed it for sale. However, we are still pushing to get the building at least secured. The 22 acres submitted for housing. On January 10th, I met with the consultants of Camoin Associates who are conducting a countywide housing feasibility study. And a very positive note, they did confirm the site was chosen as one of 5 sites within Clinton County for housing. I'll report any further information as it becomes available. The Bob Venn Fitness Center project. The DASD grant has been approved by the State Budget Committee. I have accepted and am awaiting grant disbursement agreement, a GDA. Once received, we'll start working on a project timeline. The Great Chazy River project. We've received a proposal from Barton LaJudas for a feasibility study for dredging, and we have a meeting with county, state, and federal agencies to secure funding for the study coming up in March. I will update when more information is available. Clinton County Health Department complete streets. There is work remaining to complete the following improvements to our streets and rec trail. The remainder will be completed in the spring and summer of 2025. And those are the crosswalk at Church Street, Church and South Streets, the removal of the shared road markings on Prospect, and then installation of new shared road markings will be added in the trail itself, and there'll be no parking signs and benches installed at Perry's Mills Park. The Elm Street Culvert Project. We've chosen Stantec as the engineering firm to provide a scope of proposal that will need to be approved by the New York State DOT as well as the town of Champlain. We're expecting it to be under construction in 2026. As we get closer and get a timeline, I'll be able to report on that. Sewers District 7 project. We're currently awaiting cost comparisons between 2 types of distribution systems from Barton and LaJudas. The 2 types are 1, a low pressure delivery, and 2, standard gravity. With the large amount of funding awarded, we want to be certain that we're providing the best system. Once we determine which type of distribution systems to use, we will begin the reformation of District 7 at the correct annual cost. Public announcements. Please visit our website and Facebook page for information on events going on around the town. Sarah is constantly updating it, and our marketing team is always posting stuff. The town would like to appoint more alternates to the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Planning Board. Please consider serving the town in this capacity, as we need talented citizens of this township to become involved and assist us in moving forward. Please contact me for details if you are interested. Please note, please feel free to stop in. I'll be happy to discuss the town projects and objectives with you, person to person. And finally, thank you to all veterans and active military men and women for your service. Also, thank you to all our first responders, both paid and volunteer, of our EMS and fire departments, and our police officers for your dedication to your community. Thank you. Next is reports from the council members. Brian, you might have to start with you.
I've been trying to keep up with what's going on, but it's been a little difficult. The last 9 months with 2 heart attacks.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, I'm glad to see you here. Thank you.
Yes.
So am I.
Welcome back.
Keeping my fingers crossed. I got into cardiac rehab, and I'm first name basis with most doctors in the North Country now. Even some in Burlington. But I'm hoping that I can continue to improve. I think I was a little optimistic at first, and that proved to be not workable. And now I'm trying to slow down a little bit, and I think that is what I need to do, but still come in and learn what's going on and keep everybody happy. And,
Okay.
so, back in business.
Okay. Well, like I said, we're very glad to have you here.
So, thank you. Thank you. So, that's it for tonight.
That's it for tonight, okay. Councilman Runner.
Let's start off with the Champlain Fire Department. There is not much to report currently, with the weather causing delays, but they still plan on having their fire department opening in June of 2025. Goal still is as it was planned.
Okay.
The Rouse's Point Fire Department, no dates yet, but they will be holding a couple of car washes in the coming spring, late March, early April, dependent on weather. The Rouse's Point Civic Center has some available times for Stick and Puck, February 18th at 12 o'clock, and then there is public skating, public skating is at 12 o'clock, and then the actual Stick and Puck is at 2 p.m. That also will occur on February 19th, except the times will be at 12:30 and 2:30 respectively. And then on February 20th at 12 p.m. and 2, again, the actual public skating first, and then the Stick and Puck will follow, and the last on February 21st. It will be at 12 and at 2. The Village of Rouse's Point's upcoming board meetings will be on February 18th at 7 p.m., followed in the month of March on March 3rd at 7 p.m. And with the amount of snow that we've had, just a reminder that there is a parking ban in the Village of Rouse's Point through March 31st, and that the village streets need to be empty during the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. The Village of Rouse's Point Dodge Memorial Library is looking for members, specifically an executive president and a secretary. If you're interested, please call 297-6242. And the Rouse's Point Dodge Memorial Library is participating in the Neighborhood Forest Free Trees for Kids program. If you are interested in this program that teaches youth about the importance of environmental stewardship, parents, grandparents, and guardians can sign your children up to receive a free tree during Earth Week, April 22nd through the 27th, by filling out a form. If you go out to the Village of Rouse's Point's website, you will find a link to this, and from there you can find the link for the parent registration. The deadline for registering for a tree is March 15th, and they will contact you when a tree is ready for pickup at the library. Also, the Rouse's Point offices and the Dodge Library will be closed on President's Day, which I believe is February 17th. A couple of things I do want to point out, just with the high uptick of fishing, that's PHISH, not the Rouse's Point Sportsman's Fishing Derby type of. With the uptick of phishing attacks, one thing I want to mention to all of our people in the community is that please be very careful and scrutinize each of your emails. A couple of things that you can do to be vigilant with emails is check the sender's email for typos as well as unfamiliar domains. Look at odd phrasing as well as urgent request and overly types of personalized greetings. Also hover over the actual URLs or the links to see what the actual URL is and where that might lead you to. And do not click on links or open attachments if the actual sender is unknown to you. In addition, I would recommend using strong, unique passwords for each account. If you at any point in time indicate or seem to indicate that you're receiving emails, it might be a good time to possibly change those passwords. Also enable any type of multi-factor authentication. So you actually should have two-step types of authentication, and that will kind of minimize types of risks that you might have to deal with.
And they're attacking through text messages some too.
Correct. So again, be vigilant is all I can say. From an EDU perspective, I received one additional EDU appeal during the month of February. I have sent out correspondence to the EDU Appeals Committee. They will receive copies of these, and with their approval, we'll get these out to these two commercial parcel owners. That's all I have for tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Councilman Bori.
Got it.
Pick on you next.
First thing will be ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals. They met on January 16th here at the town office at 5:30, and they heard an application for hair salon at 11033 Route 9. Already a building there, just looking to put that in, turn it into a hair salon. The ZBA approved to send it to the county, and there's a public hearing scheduled on February 20th here at the town office at 5:30 p.m. So there'll be a public hearing on February 20th for that, and any other business that's before the ZBA at that time. I'll go on with marketing. So you have some paperwork that came from our marketing team at Boyer Benner. Per the request of some, you can see the breakdown of the pages, so it lets us kind of see where people are going traffic-wise. It's nice to see some of these numbers kind of be where they're at, which is nice. We're getting, some pretty good traffic on certain pages with our Explore and Economic Development. Those are our highest. But of course, our court page gets pretty good traffic. Contact us page, our codes and zoning, tax collection. So there are people using our website, which is good, so. You can see where some of the users are coming from. Montreal, obviously, as that is being targeted with advertising. And then some of the other points are data with Facebook and other social media platforms, advertisements on Google. You can see clicks and engagement there when it's being paid for, being pushed into people's feeds because we're paying for it. You can see where some of the clicks and some of that comes from, some of the impressions. I mean, if you look at that impression there in Montreal, it's pretty impressive. You've got over a million impressions on things, so it's getting pushed into people's feeds and in their, when they're searching things, which is good, right? It's probably since why we're seeing a traffic uptick. Now, do I have a number as to what's a good percentage when you have those kinds of numbers, like when you actually get people clicking? I don't know. I could probably ask that question. What's a good return? You're looking at a 10% return, a 5% return, a 1% return. Like what's a good? What's the phrase they use? Market standard or something, right? Industry standard. So, okay, industry standard is, okay, thank you. It is actually, it's on the last page. I don't have to answer that question, it's already here. Industry standard is 0.9, and your page is performing very well. So that would be some of the notes, right? Good bounce rate is about 45%. So we're hitting those marks. And then just kind of setting us a few things. The industry standard for 5 is 0.9, and then for 6, it's 0.35 is the industry standard. So our ads are performing well above industry standard. So I think they're feeling pretty confident that whatever they're doing is making an impression. So this was the latest report with a little bit of the further breakdown. And then industry goals, would you just share that? So Dorothea's got a few notes here just on the things that Boyer Benner brought. I said, what are your goals? We have some of our goals, but also what are your goals in terms of what you'd like to see done for this coming fiscal year? And they said, this is good, better breakdowns, better data reporting, so we can understand what's going on in terms of breaking down those web pages. And they also said that they want to make sure that they're doing more in terms of trying to get our ads onto the right sets of eyeballs. I'm not using the right jargon here, but you understand it, like having the right people see us.
The right audience.
Yeah, the right audience. So, they're talking about boosting in Canada, but they did mention that boosting in Canada actually has a higher cost than boosting in the United States. So they just said with some of our budget limitations that there is going to be, we're not going to be able to have full impact, but they do say that we're doing okay with the budget that we have. So I don't think that's of course, I think they would like to spend more money doing that, but I personally, I feel like what they are doing and the money they are spending is being noticed here. So I think that's good.
Agreed.
Yeah, so they said it's pretty good. They also mentioned that they want to do additional businesses. They want to know if we have that list ready for businesses that want to be filmed or agreed to be filmed for another round of those testimonials.
We gotta work on that.
Yeah, so we probably need to get them something. So I think we have our short list. We just need to confirm that these people want to go on camera. So and be a part of our ad program. I'll just speak on my own personal experience. There was somebody on Facebook who had made a comment about Ray's Appliance and how they just really appreciate their service and being able to repair things or walk. They walked a tenant through getting their refrigerator to work at no cost, and then was able to be able to supply the parts to have it fixed. And then I made a comment back, basically saying, look, we have this as part of our ad campaign for letting people know about what's here in the town. And it just goes to show that our local residents are right in step with what we're trying to promote as well. Like, it's just that it had nothing to do with our work, but it was testimonial from somebody who lives here that uses that business that just reaffirms, you know, what we're trying to let everybody else know. So I thought that was kind of a neat connection, and then of course linked them to the ads, and they're like, okay, that's great. So I'm just letting you know that I think that's kind of neat that there's that. It's funny what you don't notice until you start to have to notice it, if that makes sense. So anyway, and they also want to update our Google Ads and increase our social media content. They'd like to ramp that up even more than what they're doing. So I think that's their goal. And then we can set any goals we want, and then of course let them know what we'd like to do.
When you met with them, did you ask them if they could put these testimonials, those videos, make those available on the website as well?
Yes, and all of that is possible. So I just don't know when it's gonna happen, but I can say.
They're aware?
Yeah, it's correct, yes.
Okay.
So we can just, if I can say, please do that as soon as possible, like.
Yeah, let's see those go up there as well.
All right, so there's marketing. Any questions or anything that, okay.
Looks good.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased, and well, maybe have a side conversation about our other thing, but I think we're trend setting, so which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're leading.
Yeah, okay, yes, I think we're leading, and others are following our lead, as you put it so kindly. Trying to find the positive in this. A few other things, Hometown Heroes, if you want a banner, please let us know as soon as possible, because we're gonna be in the process of ordering those banners soon. So if you have not put in an application and you want one for 2025, please do that within the next couple of weeks, because we will be finalizing that. Contact Sarah here at the town office. We have set, thanks to Sarah, we have our 2025 food truck season all set. The schedule's ready to go. And Sarah's done a fantastic job taking us the longest season we've ever done. So get ready, strap on your bibs, and get ready for a pretty cool season. We kick off March 18th. Yes, so we start Tuesday, March 18th. That's going to be from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. with Cousins Maine Lobster. So that's right here at the town office. It's going to be a lunch and dinner time food truck event that starts on March 18th. So you don't have to wait much longer for the food truck season to start. And it's going to go all the way through October this year. So we're pretty excited. So Sarah, congratulations on being able to book. And we have some new food trucks coming this year.
Yeah,
So
it's a new lineup.
yeah, so be sure to check us out. All that's going to be available on our website.
It is on the website. It is on the website, and it is on the Facebook page.
Yeah, so check our social media, check our website, all of that's there. A couple of things, there is a lifeguard training course coming up in March. I was trying to find that message from school, but we are soliciting, I believe you have to be 15 years or older to sign up. It's 16 and older to sign up for the lifeguard course, but we're looking to stock our lifeguard bench for our summer swim program. And of course, the school, NCCS, is interested in having students available, that the pool is now open. So anybody, and you were also, adults also, if there's anybody interested in doing that, those courses are going to be available. Home energy opportunities presentation is going to be held on Wednesday, March 12th at the Champlain Memorial Library. That's at 148 Elm Street in the village of Champlain. That's going to be from 4 to 5. They're going to have a presentation to allow people to do some DIY stuff at home for better energy, meaning conservation of energy to help your home. They're also going to have some resources for those that are looking to get some assistance with helping to make your home more energy efficient. So that's March 12th at the Champlain Memorial Library. And I think that's it. Yes, that's it. So ends the report.
Awesome, thank you very much. Sure. Appreciate it, it's a good report. I'm working so well. Councilmember Southwick.
So just to add to what Jason was, Councilmember Rory was saying about our lifeguarding request, lifeguards would be available to work with the summer youth swim program, but there's also adult swim programs throughout the year, so job opportunities are available, and you can contact Shar Sample at the rec department website, or get a hold of Superintendent Garand at the school, right? I think that's the contact person.
Yes.
Okay. There was no planning board meeting this past month. The next meeting is scheduled on March 6th at 5:30 here at the town, should there be items that come before the board. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Report from the town clerk, please.
You have my monthly,
Could I interject? I pulled this over to do that in the reports, because I forgot this in mine. I was gonna add this in. So this is a public service announcement. It's Cancer Services Program of Northeastern New York. This is for anyone who does not have health insurance. So the Cancer Services Program of Northeastern New York, Clinton, Essex, and Franklin counties offers cancer screenings for free to eligible women 40 years of age and older and men 45 years of age and older who do not have health insurance. They're free cancer screenings, mammograms, breast exams, pelvic exams, pap tests, colon cancer screening kits. So I would urge anyone not to, put that off forever just because of no insurance. This is free. Call 518-324-7671. Enrollment is easy.
And can we put that on the website and our social media? I know it's on the Village of Champlain's website.
It's already on our
It is.
Facebook page. I did it today, but
Okay.
I will put it over on our website.
as well.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, so, sorry, Julie.
it's all right.
Sorry, Julie, for interrupting.
You have my report for approval.
I'll make a motion that we approve the town clerk's report for January 1st through the 31st of January. Local monies in the amount of $640.39. Non-local amounts, $163.61.
Do we have to approve that? We just accept it, don't we?
No, we do.
Yeah, we have to
We
approve
usually
it.
do.
We have to approve it. Second?
Yeah, it has to be approved, that's what the auditor said.
Oh,
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Okay, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Motion carries. There's my signed copy.
Thank you.
Okay, review of the abstract, the post audit bills. Standard, no questions. Not, then we have, I need approval of the monthly bills, and we have one additional here for replacement wiper blades. So our bill report total was 117,820.39, and the grand total with the additional is $117,871.15. We get a motion, and if there's any questions, we can go over it in discussion.
approve the abstract votes.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Any other questions on any of the
So
invoices?
looks like it's that we made the final payment on the pit, on the
Yep.
sand pit.
That will be the final payment, yes, sir.
Okay.
But it is our pit until 2029.
Any further questions or discussions on?
Sarah, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, do you know if the NICEAG lighting bill was astronomically higher than it has been, or is it about the same, or?
I feel it's about the
About
same.
the same, okay. So I know there's been some.
Wait,
about
you also
that.
have to watch this one here, cause it's every 3 months. Sorry. Thank you.
It's the, yeah, okay,
You know what I'm saying? So we have a little bit for like the lighting and stuff that you
Mhm.
get billed every month, and then every 3 months we get the big bill
okay,
for here.
alright.
And with that, if you wanna see the comparisons, go to our website, our benchmark reports, and you'll be able to see them, cause that's where I put everything
Okay, sure.
on a yearly basis.
Okay. Any other questions? Do a roll call, please.
Councilmember Southwick? Aye. Councilmember Bory?
Aye.
Councilmember Moore?
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter?
Aye.
Supervisor Trombley?
Aye. Thank you. And then you should have a detailed invoice. I mean, this was in the bills, but I requested a detailed invoice, so you can see what the hours were charged on the last page. How it broke down. And, the one with Camoin was to do with the feasibility study that they're doing for the housing. And then trying to figure out the Miramar deed and the New York State Assembly bill involving the former Champlain IDA. We sort of go through the boxes, July. I think this, we're gonna find a document that's gonna explain it better than everything that's on the record. So I thought that would be better than just showing the total bill for 7.5 hours.
I prefer it like this. Yeah. Organization is everything.
Okay, we have the report for the codes officer. There's no questions, but you also have copies of, if you haven't got any questions on this, I'll move to the summary of the lead service line, but. As well, so anyways, any further questions in the code report?
No, Chris is doing a good job.
It is. So I had him provide the lead service line inventory that he submitted, and the reason was to make you aware that we had a visit from Rural Water to bring it to our attention that it had been, his submission was disqualified because there was something missing, and they don't give any detail, it just, there's something wrong with your submission, something's missing. So Chris was away in New York with his dad, and when he got back, we had to sit down and figure it out, and so what he did was, his name, he had entered it as Chris Matat, where on the water license, it's actually Christopher M. Matat. So we're thinking that's what it was, we don't know yet. He resubmitted it with that, and also added an address in a field where it hadn't been entered. We're not even sure if it needed to be, but we added it anyways. And he went over it with a fine tooth comb and couldn't find anything else. But because they don't give you detail, I just wanted you to be aware that we haven't heard from them at all yet. And I'm assuming no news is good news, because we were supposed to be fined as of last Friday. Because they sent the email to an old email address through PrimeLink that we haven't had in several years. And we were not aware that it was a problem, so we weren't the only ones. That's why Rural Water was out. He was going to all the municipalities that were not aware that they had an issue. But anyway, so this is a record of all the work we put into that.
Is this an annual thing that he has to do, or is this something that comes around every few years, or was this just one time?
Well, this is something new.
I know they had something in Rouse's Point like this.
They did the same thing in Russell's.
They did.
Yeah, so throughout the state, this had to be done.
I don't think it's annual.
By October of
No, it's
last.
not annual.
It's not annual, I don't think it's
It was a mandatory
correct.
drive to find all the lead service
Correct.
pipes. And then today at that webinar that Sarah and I sat through, there is funding now put in place by the governor
Right.
to go toward replacement. But luckily, as you can see,
There's only one line that's unknown,
right,
so.
I think we're in good shape luckily.
And the pictures that we received for them, I have added to our Diamond Point software. So
Mapping, yeah.
if you go to that hookup or that address, you will be able to see that picture.
Wow, nice.
It'll be a time saver.
Okay. So, next are your communications, your charter, zoning board minutes, which Councilmember Bori spoke to.
Let me just speak to that charter communications, Tom, since
Okay.
I'm on that piece this year. The Universal Kids will cease programming around March 6th. It is not within Spectrum's control, though. If you're concerned, here's their number, I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. 212-379-5123.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Okay, so. And of course, Clinton County Health Department information we went through with Cody. That was also in your correspondence. So new business, do we wanna make a formal motion to enter in to that trial with the health department? Get it on record.
What he had mentioned is for the program.
Yes, for the
Douglas,
Eat Smart, Waste Less
Yep.
through Clinton County.
Mhm.
So I would make a motion that we enter in this program and go through this one-year trial period and determine if we wanna continue or not. It'll be interesting to see how many people get involved with it. I know I've talked to a few people within the town that are very interested in it, so I think it's gonna spark a lot of interest. So that's my motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion on it?
So what should be, it should be covered by the counties, the grant?
For 1 year.
For 1 year, yeah.
Which will also provide all the containers to all the participants within that first year. So anybody that signs up to try this within year one will not have to go out and buy containers, and neither will we. So, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is Champlain local law number 1 of 2025, which I want to discuss it a little bit. We're going to need to table it because we do have questions from our DCO that I will discuss with you gladly tomorrow in detail. I think what we need to do is that one section that he is having issues with, which is number 8 of section 5. I'd like to pose that to both one of our judges and also to our attorney. On their
And the attorney saw this with number 8 already,
yes.
and said it was fine.
He approved this whole document, and the majority of the document was pre-approved by the county attorneys as well.
Right.
So it's gone through 2 sets of attorneys. But that section 8, or number 8 rather, section 5 was added after the county attorney reviewed it, because that was not in their law.
Oh, not in the county, correct, but it was in that our attorney looked at.
Yes, it's just the way it sits, actually.
Why do all the fines go to the county?
Actually, I've got that changed to town of Champlain.
It's supposed to go to, yeah, that was a
That,
misprint.
that was I missed the county one when I did my search. I changed a lot of county stuff because this had gone in front of the, safety committee for the county and been approved by their attorney first.
They were happy.
And then when they didn't, allow the public hearing, then it came back to me, and I just made the changes from county to town. And I missed that one, so that will get revised. It's revised electronically already. And there may be a couple changes from Jody's suggestions, and then that one piece I'm gonna have to verify. If I can, I guess what I'm looking for is support from either one of them, whether that needs to stay or not. I don't know if they want me to read it for the record or not, but it's basically for supervision.
I think let's see what they say first, and then
Okay.
make it public record, because if it's in mute, I don't want
Agreed. So, because of these changes having to be done, I wanna table all 3 items.
Correct.
Well,
And I guess to be specific, we'll do them one at a time, but the first thing, this one, we're just gonna table the, introduction of this law until we make these changes.
yeah.
So I got one motion to do that.
I'll make a motion, we table the dog control local law number 1
Thank
until
you.
we can get more information.
Yep, we revise and
Yeah.
get it, everybody happy with it. Have a second?
No second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And if any of you have, I know you said you had
Yeah,
comments,
I've
you need
got-
to get that to Rick and I.
Yeah, they're somewhat minor points, I don't think they change the intent of the bill, but some of it needs definitions, you can't just say, if it's gonna be cold outside, dogs can't be out.
I think that
Well, we-
definition.
No, you look at that, advisory, the National Weather Service has
Yeah,
changed that. Yeah, I saw it.
But if you look here, Brian, there's
It doesn't say
actually
who.
temperatures.
There's actually temperatures in there.
I've got Newfoundland dogs, and I've also had an Alaskan Malamute, which is a sled dog. And anything above 32, they pant all day. I had a golden retriever that loved to play
But
in
it
the
does
snow.
mention breeds in there, so it is
But it
dependent
doesn't,
upon types of
it's
breeds.
very,
You're not gonna find where we're gonna give each breed and give a
well, what they
temperature.
should say, according to a breed's temperament, it doesn't say stuff like that. It's an arbitrary thing, if Jason says, well, no, Alaskan Malamutes aren't cold enough, because they're sled dogs, or the Newfies, which actually save, fishermen in the North Atlantic Sea in the wintertime, they dive in, these dogs are double coated. They can actually bring as many as 5 rescues, in at one shot.
It does say in here, in section A,
Right,
it
says,
says
based upon breed,
age.
age.
But you can't just generically throw something out, who makes that
The
determination?
DCO.
Yeah, then
Yep.
that should be in there, that the dog control officer makes the final determination. That's what you need, is somebody to go back to. You know, somebody has to make a determination. This is what I'm saying, these are small things, if you just put in dog control officer shall make the determination if
Well,
the
I
breed
think-
is capable.
I think that's
I
in there
think
too.
that's in here
I think that's
also,
in there also,
Yeah.
but it's.
But not in that paragraph, that's where, you wanna be as precise as you can. Because if you put too many loopholes, they drive a truck through it.
It's, you
And
know,
like I said, I'm in favor of some dogs not going out, but all I've had were cold weather
well,
dogs.
it's not about dog going out, it's
Protecting the
about
ones
being
that
left
aren't
out,
able to.
being tethered or confined.
Well, mine, they go out, they sit by the tree, under the tree in the shade, and they stay there. They don't move, they just like them, it's TV. They watch the traffic on Mason Road and they're happy. He wants to come in, he barks, we go out and get him. You know, we never, obviously, we don't do it when we're not here. But the thing is, if he wants to come in, he barks, bring him in. And that's it, but anything above 35, 40 degrees, they're uncomfortable because they're not made for that climate. A sled dog is not made for that climate.
Well,
So they struggle in the summer for you then?
Yeah, yeah, actually,
So your house is all AC, so they
yeah,
stay in house?
and they still have problems. I don't know if it's the humidity or what, but I don't dare ever, bring them out in summer too long. But these are the things, is like, I don't want somebody who doesn't know what a Alaskan Malamute, the difference between an Alaskan Malamute and a Husky is, and say the Malamute can't stay out, but the Husky can. I want somebody who at least, one person you can bring your case to, and that's it. You don't want 6 other people trying to determine what breed can stay out and what can't. I mean, for whatever the reason, we end up with cold dogs.
if you could get your
Yeah,
suggestions
it's-
on.
Yeah, send your
no,
suggestions to
on
us if you
paper,
could in the
yeah.
next
send
day
to
or
us.
so.
It's not changing the whole law.
Well, even your
or- or-
thoughts.
Yeah,
You can look at
anything
it.
bad like that, but you really want it's set as well as it can be, so that you don't have problems in the future. And we're gonna have problems with it no matter what, just because that's the way things are.
Nature of it.
You know, it is, so my philosophy is if you can fine tune it as well as you can, so that there's less chances, or if there are, problems, you have your answer to it in the law as much as possible. That's all I'm saying, is if
So-
we can,
So get those to us in the next couple of days, please,
I-
because what I wanna do is I wanna put those corrections in here highlighted to send to Matt for review. And I plan on talking to him and having a discussion of each point. And if he wants whatever you've added, it'll stay.
yeah, I mean, I just think their observations, and I'm using my own cases because they've happened, you know what I mean? I know it can happen, so, like, you know, when you put a dog out in 0-degree weather and they're happy as can be, my dog would lay on his back and just, you know, it's like, that was great, that's what he wants. You know, look up the history of the Newfoundlands, they were for the North Atlantic for 32-degree water to save fishermen. And that's what they did, they jump off the fishing boat and they bring the fishermen back to the boat. And that's what they were used to, they're used to that cold weather. And
I've heard for it.
and,
I'll have to figure out how to get that in there, so.
well,
give us a
it's gotta be
suggestion.
a simple, even that, like, you know, I mean, but I,
It's not simple, because we've reviewed so many laws. You
well.
have no idea, Brian, none of them get specific with the breeds.
No, I don't want to, but when you get specific with the temperatures, then you run into problems, you know, like if it's.
And that's what there's a bill in the state right now, and that's exactly what it has, the same temperatures.
Yeah, but it's not right, because there are some dogs that's what they need. I mean, I can take him, I used to have a golden retriever, the darn thing wanted to be buried in snow.
Mine is,
Mine golden,
mine
Yeah.
is too.
he,
But,
I have to
but I also will say that same golden retriever that loves to be outside, when I take him out, or her out, I notice that every once in a while she'll start lifting her pads.
Yeah,
So
the
they get
pads
cold,
freeze.
so
Oh, yeah.
you have to look, and people have to be responsible with being a pet owner. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah,
And what this boils down to
Protects them.
is not tying them up and just leaving them out.
Correct.
well, that's, yeah,
We're not saying they can't go out, we're saying,
Right.
well, you are, if the temperature isn't, you know.
no, that's for.
No, we're
for
saying,
being confined.
even if you look at
Restraining,
it, it limits the time.
It's for
It's saying-
restraining,
Right.
not for having them outside.
I'll reread it.
Because it
You know,
says,
if I let my dog out, and
may not be outside for
on a day
long,
like today, she
for long.
spends
So,
20
again,
minutes.
it's,
Yeah, the weather alert too needs to be discussed, because who issues it? Channel 5, Channel 3, the National Weather Service? You know what I'm saying? I watch, TV and,
I think I'd leave that up to the DCO. In
Uh,
terms of like, where that national, and then I
well,
would imagine
right,
it
but
would be a
there needs
national.
to be one
Correct.
source, you can't,
Yeah.
because I can say, well, I just watched Channel 5 and they said there's no winter weather advisory.
Right.
And many times, I like to watch the weather, and many times you'll have completely different forecasts on completely different stations.
Correct, correct.
You
Okay.
will, and I don't wanna get in trouble because I watched the one that said it was no weather advisory or anything. And, you know, and all of a sudden they're at the house saying, well, the National Weather Service said
We
it's
know
a
it won't
storm
be
warning.
NOHAA, so, at least not for now.
But,
Just to
Okay.
throw that out there.
All right, so anyways, good.
I'll try
Pencil
and
it
have it on Thursday, I'm gonna be gone all day, doctor's appointments and cardiac rehab.
Okay, good, well, no, it's more important. No, just in
Yes.
the next few days, and
Yeah,
we'll get, Rick and I are gonna get together and we'll
yeah.
redraft.
I'm not planning on anything too serious, but I would like to see it as precise as we can get it, so there's less loopholes for somebody to drive the truck through or to argue about. and more
It'll be tough
precise.
to do. We make it less.
Yeah, well, we're gonna make it as best as we can. So,
So the next thing on the, is Resolution 8, to introduce local law. I'd like to table that until next month as well. I make a motion to table.
We'll make a motion to table resolution number 8 to introduce local law number 1, 2025.
Thank you. And a second.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the list was Resolution 9 to set public hearing. Need a motion to table that as well.
I'll make a motion that we table resolution number 9 for the public hearing until future date.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Old business, sign for Claude Van
I
Park,
think we have anything we wanna just.
staying, right? And revisions to investment policy, Dora, I have not had time to look at it myself.
Well, I started looking at it, and I did send a search out to find out other investment policies that we can review, just for help, and I haven't gotten any answers yet.
Yeah, I think you copied me.
I
on that.
copied you on
Yes.
that one.
Okay. All right, our next business meeting is scheduled for March 11th, 2025. And if nobody has any more business, I'll welcome a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion to adjourn our meeting this evening.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.